Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. A Cure for Wellness is the movie we just got back from, and you know what? It reminds me that I love my job. I love these kinds of movies because I could come here and competently say, guys, save your money and go and spend your money on excellent films like Lego Batman.
We started off strong. Yeah. We can't hit 3 anytime.
Lego Batman, John Wick 2. Those movies have been out for a while. If you haven't seen them already and you plan to go to this one, go to those instead. Because although I like psychological thrillers,
yes.
You know, I like the mystery and trying to find out things, like playing Sherlock Holmes and trying to figure out what's gonna happen. And you know, basically the problem with A Cure for Wellness is it's extremely predictable. What you think is going to happen, what they say at the beginning and hint to at the beginning, is what's going to happen. There's no real twists, and unfortunately, and that's fine. You don't need a huge twist. You don't need to go crazy. But what you do need is something that doesn't drag.
It needs to grip you.
Yeah, it needs to grip you, and it does. Like so the first 45 minutes of this film, I was very encouraged. I had a smile on my face. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Competently shot. More than competently shot.
Yeah, it was beautiful cinematography. But
excellent cinematography.
But like you said, like the first 45 minutes, it felt like they were building up to something.
Oh, yeah.
And then nothing.
Yeah, so just the actors do a great job here. Our protagonist, what's this guy's name?
Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan, that's right.
That's how you say it?
You know, he's not a likable protagonist. He's this ambitious guy who's a part of this company who wants to get in on the action and is basically told by the board of directors to go and grab this other board member from this wellness center. They think he's lost his mind because he's talking about material possessions. It's not, I need to go get well, and all of you are blind. Yeah, and I see the truth. So they want him to go and retrieve him to bring him back so that they can make this merger happen between two companies and just make a ton of profits and make all their problems go away.
And, pretty much that was that.
And so he has motivation to go over there, and they even have some dirt on him to really, you know, if something goes wrong, he's got to kind of stay there to try to get this guy to come back. That's essentially the plot. So when he arrives there, it's this beautiful place. This place is amazing. The scenery. Alps. If this thing is real, which I think it is, let's go. Let's go visit this castle in amongst the mountains. It's absolutely beautiful. But when he gets there, you start to realize things aren't as they seem. The orderlies and nurses are acting very suspiciously, very stoic, and the people talk kind of weird.
They're too happy.
Yeah, and it does a great job. Like I said at the beginning of the film, this first 45 minutes to an hour, I checked my watch, and then I realized, you know, at about that hour mark, I'm like, okay, we need to start getting to the point here.
Something needs to happen, yeah.
But it doesn't. This film is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that is 1 hour way too long. No, you didn't.
It's pretty much like there's 45 minutes of something, and you're like, okay, shit's happening. It's going to hit the fan. And then there's an hour of just filler.
Pointless.
You stop caring. Yep. You really stop caring, and it's a damn shame. I love these films. I look every little detail to try to figure out what's coming next. And it's just a shame because it drags its knuckles. We're talking Neanderthal dragging its knuckles.
Nothing I've watched with you guys was as slow paced as that.
This was a very slow burn, overly long.
Yep.
When you combine overly long with predictable, it just loses your interest, despite it being well shot, despite it being well acted enough. You know, you don't have to have a likable protagonist. And I thought that was interesting because he's kind of a piece of shit, money driven, and wants to get the guy back, even if the guy wants to stay and all this other stuff. And then you become him as the audience as these things happen in this psychiatric ward. You want him to make it out. You feel for him. But ultimately, he doesn't really have much character to him.
A good way to, put it together is it's like having, fireworks, but the fuse is like a mile long. And at the first, you're excited about lighting a fuse to set off fireworks. And then over an hour of that fuse going, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. It's so predictable, and it turns into basically goth horror. You know, you could kind of put this up against some of the classic goth horrors, like you know, Frankenstein, Dracula, you know, Werewolf Man. But this one has such a despicable type story. One that honestly, I don't know if it really need to be told. I do like the fact that Hollywood.
Taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it really leaves a bad taste in your mouth. They really linger on a few shots here, so a few nudity and just inappropriate situations that I think he's trying to make the audience very uncomfortable, but it comes off more exploitative. It comes off more like this director's like dirty.
Yeah, he's trying. It's like pervy.
He's a pervy film. Like there's the daughter character here. What's her name? Mia Goth. Hannah in the film. And I'm thinking to myself, she looks really young, and are they gonna, because they're showing nudity of all these old people all over the place getting their treatments. I'm like, are they gonna do what I think they're gonna do? You know, full on nudity with this girl. But and yes, they do that, and then they linger on it. It makes you very
awkward,
uncomfortable.
Dude. And it's like the best way to put it for that whole hour where it just drags is the only way they were keeping anybody from leaving the theater was they, like, if you think about it, the shock value scenes were like almost perfectly paced in between each other.
Yeah.
Like during the shock value, you'd have a lull, then a really shocking, disgusting, or terrifying, like messed up part, and then lull, and then shocked up, and it just felt like they were going for like a lot of like overdoing it type of thing, just shock value. And
it sucks because there's a good film in here. You cut out an hour and you perhaps go with a slightly different climax, with a different direction, then this could be really good.
It's a whole new movie.
A whole new movie. Actually, you're right. But the score is good. Like, I actually enjoyed the music in this one, even the final score. And I was just listening to music. I was like, man, if you close your eyes, you can make up your own movie a little bit better than this one. And there's just so many dead ends and little red herrings that I think that they put in the film in order to try to throw you off on purpose and to keep you thinking so that you're engaged. But over time, it wears on you to the point where you're like, I really don't care. And then when you realize they do the most predictable thing, and it's the most kind of disgusting, icky feeling thing, it's like, yay for you. But I mean, by the end, it's just... It didn't work for me.
It went long enough that the main character's personality started to unravel, like how they wanted him to be portrayed. They had him making mistakes and things that were like completely out of character. Like they didn't know what to do at that part in the movie. And it was just bad in that regard. Like you just weren't caring enough at the end.
So if you're scared of eels or dentists or being strapped down...
Those are my fears. How did you know?
Well, then you loved this film, didn't you, Joe?
Oh, clowns too.
Oh,
OJ loves clowns.
Fucking clowny.
OJ loves
There's
clowns.
no clowns in this film. It has nothing to do with this film. If you're scared of eels or dentists or being strapped down, then maybe there's something watchable here. But you're gonna have to go through the long haul of the slog. There's a lot of plot holes here that I think are glaring. And I think they open up these plot holes because they're trying to throw you off in different directions. I guess there's a mind control element here. They don't really explain the eels at all.
I don't know what the fuck
So
is
you see
going
the
on
eels
with that.
in the promotional material, so I'm not
Zero
spoiling
explanation.
here anything, but zero explanation on the eels. A little bit of explanation for, how they end up being, how they factor in at the end. But it's not gone in details to where you're still sort of scratching your head. And overall, because there is no satisfactory explanation, you don't really buy it. And it's a shame because the film is competent enough. But ultimately, it felt like a waste of time, and it definitely felt short.
It felt like... It fell short, and I honestly, like, at the end of the theater, I was just, like, disappointed in how fucked up the movie was. Not like, like, plot or anything like that, but the director was just doing fucked up shit for no point other than just to get you to go, whoa, the entire time.
Like,
Like, that's
he actually
edgy.
went there.
Yeah,
I think I do like how the fact that they didn't rely on jump scares too much. There may have been one or two in the film, but they really do rely on sort of the sense of mystery and eerie and building it up, like what exactly is happening here. what the fuck is going on? And then that feeling lasts another hour. What the fuck is going on? And it turns into anger.
And then at the end of the movie, you're like, what the fuck was this?
What the fuck was this? Really? That's what I waited through to get to?
Yeah.
And it ends in such a standard fare way, you know, sort of like a Hollywood type ending, except for a sinister smile at the end that has nothing to do with anything. And I don't know. Anyways, so we're going to go final verdict. Del, what would you rate this film?
Probably the lowest.
Now, I could realize that filmmaking is of many aspects, and so you have to give credit to something. Because I feel like you're about to trash this.
No, it'd be like,
and you have not been around in January, motherfucker. Those are some garbage ass films.
Okay, so cinematography great, acting okay, first part of the movie all right. But the other two, like an hour and 30 minutes of the rest of the movie, I was like, I don't want to be here.
I don't want to be here.
I'm giving it a 3 just because, like, you knew what was happening 25 minutes into, like, the first introduction, and it was like nothing ever happened, and I just did not enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And then you mix it with things that were just like, ugh.
Yeah.
The entire time, like, ugh.
Yeah.
Type of gross, and I said 3. I'm giving it a solid 3.
There are elements of better, basically almost every little clip and thing in this film that's interesting has been done better in other films. Yep. It's almost like an amalgamation, just like putting things together, and then also let's put in this disgusting theme here, this idea, and that'll be enough to be a memorable film. And you're like, you wasted a lot of my time.
Yeah.
Joe, what would be your verdict?
For this, I'm gonna have to give this a 2. I really did not
like even lower than Del. I just talked to Del about it.
I seriously did not like this. The beginning was pretty cool. I thought it was gonna be a good setup. I thought it was gonna be something like a good thriller, kind of like Shutter Island. I kind of like that film.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this had no payoff. Very slow. I actually did not care about the fucking characters. I was like, if he dies, he dies. I could care less about this. And it was just dragging on. I was like, I kind of want to go home.
I disagree, and you can have that opinion. I disagree that there is a payoff, but it's a shitty payoff. It's one. It does resolve its story. I was expecting it to just cut off, because there are a few psychological films like the Eye Inside and other ones that just kind of cut off, and you have to really think about it or jump online and look up forums and stuff to figure it out. But this one has sort of a Hollywood ending to it, so you in that way. So there is a payoff. It's just the payoff kind of sucks. So 2 out of 10.
I did not like
it. It sucked because like they were doing so much shock value shit. I totally thought they were just gonna end the fucking movie and be like,
I kept looking at my clock. I was like, wait a minute, we're 2 hours in here, and there's still not a final revolution. And now we have a dance number here. We have we have fairy tale stuff. I'm like, what the? How the fuck is this? So the ending is very rushed.
I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. I'd rather see something else.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give my final verdict now, unless you guys want to talk about it some more.
I'm done. I'm done with this.
Judging finger pyramid.
So I'm surprised because you gave it the same rating I want to give it. I want to give it a 3 out of 10. Okay, so I'm very confident in your rating skills still. Well, you must agree with me. No. You can go lower with OtherJoe with 2 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. I felt like it really was in excess. It really squandered all that first. The opening was really great, and it squandered all that. So there's talent behind the movie. You've got an interesting concept initially. The way they tied it up sucked. You've got great shots, cinematography. They wasted it, and you've got a chance to do something really interesting, psychological, and something we've never seen before. And it ends up your standard goth horror with a nice little resolution and a stupid smile at the end that has nothing to do with anything. So 3 out of 10. Save your money. You could go watch Batman a second time. You can watch John Wick. Have a John Wick marathon 1 and 2, because I gave John Wick 2 a 10, but really I was combining both films into one since they are essentially one film. That's a 10 out of 10. This is a 3 out of 10. Okay, and so I hope you guys enjoyed, and we might as well do a very short 5-minute section here of spoilers. So if you don't want to hear that, leave now. But trust me, the film is not worth your time. You shouldn't spend money. Catch it on TV later. But here it is. So we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Okay, welcome to the spoilers section where we get to talk about all the shady fucking parts in the movie without being restrained.
God.
So why do we hate this film? Essentially, this film is about incest. It's about...
Yeah, that's what I fucking hated.
I hated it. It's
Fuck.
disgusting. I hate that
such
shit.
a shitty
And
payoff.
it's fine. You can make movies about incest and you can make your audience uncomfortable as hell. But you have to do it competently. When you're approaching these kinds of uncomfortable things, you gotta do it competently. When your film drags, and in the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you realize that the whole thing has been about this, you're like, fuck you! Why you waste my time?
Over fucking done when he that whole scene where he reaches into his daughter and there's
Fucking fingers her
fuck?
and
Oh,
smells
dude.
her.
What the fuck?
I was like, oh, this is Jason Isaacs,
come on,
really,
man.
And so as I was talking about before, this girl looks very young. I believe she's Shia LaBeouf's wife, and so she's got to be older than I think she is. But I was like, are they gonna show her full-on nudity? And he rips her blouse, and you see her tits, and you're like, okay, so they did it, and we're adult, we're mature, and they'll move on from it. They won't. But no, they fucking linger on her tits the whole fucking time. When he's over, he's like ripping up his clothes. He wants to rape his daughter. Yeah. So the whole thing is, the story is, you've got this baron who is at this castle, and you have he wanted to marry his sister. And consummate with her and create a pure blood child, but then the townspeople got word of it and wanted to go and kill him, and so they burned his castle and burned him.
They burned it because of the medical experiments where he was trying to figure out how to fix his wife and blah blah blah.
I think it was so that they could have a child, because if you mix and you have incest, then some of your children are going to be born with defects, and he wouldn't accept that. So basically he does. But it turns out his wife was with child, or his sister wife was with child, and as they were burning her at the stake, the townspeople cut her belly open, the baby fell out, and the baby was alive, so they threw it in the fucking water. That's how the eels come into play. They threw it in the water, and there's eels there.
The only time they explained the fucking eels at all was as a basis of the plot, where he said normally they only live 20 years. But these live 200.
It's because
in the water.
Aquifer.
And he was like, what the shit? And so he was dissecting the eels, I guess, and everything. They tried to show that for a brief period. He's trying to figure out why they lived so long and blah, blah, blah. And it's he knew it was the water the entire time.
So the child lives, and it turns out Mia Goth in the film, or Hannah, is the daughter of his incest relationship, and he wants to fuck his daughter just so he can have sex with her.
The entire movie is like, Dad, if I get better, Daddy's coming for me. And that's weird now.
Yeah, it was creepy, and like I said, it dragged way too long. You have this unlikable protagonist, so he wins in the end. Basically, his grandma at some point gives him a little ballerina that plays music and stuff, and so one effective scene was when they hook him up to this machine. How does he live this long? Because this story took place 200 years ago. Yeah. Well, they do extend their lives somehow through these little drops that they take. So, I guess they're extracting life essence, has something having to do with the eels.
He said that the water, it prolongs life, but it's toxic to humans, but the eels, they live through it. And so his idea of filtering it was he was forcing the guy to drink it, which was using the human's body's kidneys to filter it, and the yellow liquid that was coming out of the bottom was piss.
Yeah, urine, wasn't it?
It was piss. It was literally eel shit and piss coming out into the water filter. He straight up put the dude in there, and he was like, the human body can filter it, and after it comes out, it's drinkable.
Thank you for clearing that up.
And it was like, you're
and
piss.
That's why when, at some point in the film, he does try it, because Hannah has a little a necklace where she uses it from time to time. So he's it tastes like fish and salt and stuff. Yeah.
Salty seawater.
Salty seawater, but it's been filtered through a human being.
I still have a question, though. How are they mind controlled?
Yeah, I don't know how he got so many people in on his thing. That was the one. That's what I said. There's a plot hole in there.
Yeah, because remember, the senior citizens.
It has to be a mind control. Number one, he's mind controlling all his staff and doctors because why would they support him so he could fuck his daughter? Why am I wanting you to fuck your daughter?
They were all using the infinite life thing, so maybe they were a cult, and they were like, unlimited
we want
life,
infinite
water
life. You can
abuse.
fuck your
Yep.
daughter
Yep.
so as long as we get
But
that
what
shit
about
over.
the senior citizens in the table?
Yeah, exactly.
What
That's a
about
mind
them?
control thing.
that's
That is the
why-
plot hole that I'm saying.
That's why I
that-
thought there was going to be parasites like Lost Plagas
Yeah.
or something. That
Yeah.
mind.
So
control
that would have been the way to go.
Yeah.
The film was effective in making me question drinking water. Like I was drinking something as I was watching the film, and after I saw he found this little
Like,
eel
holy shit, I drink a
parasite
shit ton of
thing,
water.
and I was like, oh fuck. And then I was looking at my glass, so I was like, okay, you've done an effective job. Problem is, this idiot, after he finds this thing within the first,
parasite.
hour of the film, he just keeps drinking the water the rest of the
Yeah,
fucking
He
time.
literally is drinking it. He looks at his hand. He's like, "Oh, there was like a little parasitic worm in my drink." He smushes it, and then he's like,
He drinks some more water.
He's gotta wash it down.
It's like
yeah.
something's going on
He's
here,
like,
but
"Let me
it's
wash down
probably
those
not in the
parasites
water.
with more parasites." In the...
Yeah, so they do a lot of things where they try to fuck with your mind, and they do a really poor job pushing the idea that it's psychological and it's in his head and he's really there because he is really sick. So that's what they're getting across in the trailer, but it doesn't come across in the film. You know exactly where it's going. Yep. You know the story they told about the Baron is what it's actually going to be at the end. You knew that Jason Isaacs was the Baron, like when you first lay your eyes on him.
The moment I knew was when he first goes into the Baron's office, the director's office, to talk to him about this guy coming home.
And he has this picture of
and
his
he has
daughter.
the picture, and he had the locket, and the locket was like super, like basically worshipped. And at that point, he had heard on the way up about how the Baron's wife had died and blah blah blah, the Baron and everything. And so when he goes up to the locket and he's like, "Oh, this is for the Baron's wife," and the Baron just like preciously holds it and like perfectly puts it back. Movie's done.
Yeah,
at that
done.
point, the movie was done.
But it lasted another hour and 10 minutes to
And
get to
then
the
put him
final
back.
conclusion, where basically he's able to break free from the mind control. Because mind control is shown off because, the daughter sits next to him and she's like, you were the only person that really made me realize I could get out of here. And he's like, why would anybody want to leave? And then he's got the smile. But he breaks free from it through the ballerina, goes over there, starts a fire, puts the Baron on fire. Baron has super strength, turns into Dracula or whatever. And he beats the Baron, or it's the daughter that ends up killing her father. And they get on a bike and leave, and the board members come up on a car, crash into the bike, but everybody's okay, and they're like, all right, you had a job, get in the car, let's go back, make money or something. And he's like, no, I'm feeling, he's like, are you crazy? He's like, no, I'm feeling pretty well.
Huh?
So he gets the daughter character, and yay, he got the girl at the end. But as he's driving the bike away, he gets the shit. The director must have been like, really? Ham it up, go sinister. He's like, as an actor, he's like, are you sure? Because that makes no sense right now.
I think it's all the eels he has in his stomach.
Oh, that's right.
They never resolved that.
They get
He
pumped.
got pumped by like 30 eels and went into his
So that
stomach.
was a good moment, good scary thing. So he has 30 eels in his stomach. That's why he's smiling, because the eels will get their revenge apparently
Damn.
and eat the daughter once they get home.
Part 2, you ready?
The eels come out of his mouth and kill it. I didn't even consider that, and I bet you didn't either if you were watching the film and you're watching the spoilers now. But this film, it sucks. You know what? It sucks.
It sucks. Okay.
It sucks, but I love horror films, and I've seen way worse than this. January was way worse, and I've seen so many horror films that end poorly, that don't have a resolution, that are boring the whole way through. At least this one was interesting at the beginning, and it does resolve itself, but it's just disgusting, and you don't like it. So that's why I was giving it 4 to 3, but I would have given it a 4 if you had cut at least an hour out of the film.
Oh yeah.
But it is a 3 because it pretty much wasted a lot of my time and ended up in basically huge trope area, so predictable, and it's like, okay, I will watch it on TV once. I don't want to see this film again. It's too fucking long.
I want to talk about how every time he was caught in places where they were like, we need to kill this guy. He knows what we're doing. He's clearly a problem. They have a chance to kill him over and over again, and they have like strapped down and they're torturing him. And instead of just killing the guy, because they clearly kill tons of people, they're like, just let him go again. Third time he's like,
he's wandering this whole
what are you
fucking place.
doing here again? You're in a restricted area.
Let me explain my plan to you again, once again. And just, Oh my god.
And then they let him go again. Like the part with the eels where it was like it was gonna kill him because he was swallowing fucking eels in piss water. He's swallowing this, and then they just let him out again.
Yeah.
He's just on the bench like, I'm good again, dude.
There's no risk of him running off and telling everybody. Why don't the townspeople go tell people? Well, I guess the townspeople don't truly know what's happening. They think that they killed the Baron a long time ago, and they just hate the people that are going
except for the
up there.
sheriff or something.
The sheriff does know, but
Yeah.
he is also using the forever life shit, so he's probably the Baron's friend. Anyways, that's the story. We just saved you a bunch of money, you know, to $30-$40 and a bunch of time. Go check out some of those other movies we talked about, and we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.
See ya.